I just recently went to a film gathering in Colorado. These two buddies put together basically a happy hour for anybody who's into film and did this panel discussion things on kind of the state of what's going on in Colorado. But here's the craziest thing that happened. While I was there, I probably ran into more DPs than I've ever met in my career in one room. I mean, everybody was a camera operator, everybody was a DP or a cinematographer. And I got home and I started looking at all the reels. And I was like, God, these guys are amazing. Like, there's so much talent in here. And then at the end of it, I said, who would I actually hire and how would I evaluate it? And so I was thinking about this, and I'm interested in what you guys think as far as in the likes and the comments and all that stuff is like, tell me what you all use to evaluate who you hire. But here is the top 3 or 4, maybe 5 things that I look for in documentary DP. So number 1 is they just have to have talent. This goes without saying, right? Is that their reel has to show that they're really good at what they do. And that comes from a diversity of projects, that comes from under different circumstances. If it's all commercial, that's kind of one thing. If it's doc and narrative and commercial and those things and setup and lit and natural light, you know, that would be one of the things I kind of look for is like, is there a diversity and what are they best at? So number 2, and this is probably the tell, is do they wear headphones? And I typically will ask somebody, do you wear headphones? Because 1/3 of the storytelling is audio. So when a DP doesn't want to wear headphones and says, well, I'll just watch the monitor, I don't know if that's actually usable audio that I can use in the film. So typically, if somebody doesn't want to wear headphones, I know they're more of a traditional DP and they'll work for some situations, but not for others. So it kind of limits the jobs that I would want to work with them on. Number 3, kind of crazy, but what gear do they shoot? You know, today it's whether you're shooting Canon or Sony or Red or Blackmagic, you know, there's an intuition, there's like a muscle memory that goes with each one of those cameras. So if you're typically shooting Sony, you know where all those buttons are and those things. So the more time that somebody spends on a camera, the more I want to know, you know, what are they shooting? What have they recently shot that they have a lot of hours on? It's not that they're not a good DP, it's just in a documentary environment, typically you don't have time to think about that stuff, so you really need the muscle memory to be on the camera. So I want to know what kind of cameras they like to shoot and what they're currently shooting, because being on set in our environments is not the time that you're really going to pick that stuff up. So number 4, do they really want to chase the story or they want to chase the cinematography? Can you tell within the footage that they know how to shoot a scene in a documentary? Do they know how to shoot a beginning, middle, and end? Do they know the inserts that they need by taking the wide, the close-up, and the medium? And do they understand that the story's told in the eyes? So a lot of times you go to these great, beautiful environments and they forget to shoot the establishing shot, or you forget to shoot one thing, but do they understand, are they chasing the story or are they chasing what's beautiful? And today, these cameras shoot these amazing photos and they photograph the movie really well, but in our world as storytellers, we need the whole story. So it's learning to know and budget your time on that stuff. Are they looking for the story, not just that one shot that's epic? And number 5, this is probably the biggest one of all of these, is can you communicate? Are you personable? You know, we've literally fired people from jobs because they either didn't want to be known or they just didn't have the personality trait. They just were, you know, we call it the no jerk policy on our teams. Is that, are you just a good person? Do you enjoy other people? Are you nice to be with? But typically the reason why that's, if it happens with me, is that it's probably going to happen with the cast. And in documentary, we're always working with other people. The cameraman will be off with somebody, the DP will be kind of following a scene. Well, if they miss something or they need to ask them a question or something that happened intriguing, they need to be able to interact and direct that and not just let it go and come back that evening and say, yeah, well, it was pretty good, but I didn't get it. And typically that's just because they weren't personal or hadn't built relationships. Those are the 5 things I think are most important to me when I look at hiring a DP, and I'm totally curious to what you all think. You all do this too, and I'm learning as we go. So this is like the great social experiment. I'm totally curious of what's going on with YouTube, and we're in the middle of a bunch of films, but I love this format. I'm totally curious. Let me know if it's the highly produced videos that are entertaining? Is it the content? What is it that would be helpful for you as a filmmaker and for us as a community of filmmakers to grow together? Have a great day and keep shooting documentaries.